Hey everyone, this is Hoopsmiles here, coming live from the snow. Got hit with a huge snowstorm in Seattle, which is very unusual for this place. Oftentimes it just rains a lot this time of year. So unfortunately, the library is closed at the moment, and I'm not able to use the space that I would normally do to do this class, which means that the internet connection is much worse because right now I'm just using my phone. So hopefully, this footage that you're seeing right now is not the most horrible in the world. But I thought I would still try to do something here with this class. I do have some hoops that I brought up here. I'm currently on the roof of my apartment, and I tried to make a little spot where there is no snow that I can maybe do some hula hoop tricks and try to teach this class. So once again, forgive this footage. This might be the worst footage ever, so hopefully it works out. Okay, good to see that Carla's watching the class right now. Hey, how's it going? Yeah, so like I was saying, we'll try to do a little bit here. If it doesn't work out, we're gonna have to end this class early. Also, too, I just want to also cancel the February 16th class that I have scheduled as well. If you visit my Hoopsmiles website at hoopsmiles.com/ live hoop class, that's where I have all the information for my upcoming classes. Right now, it has listed February 16th as a available class, but would like to go ahead and cancel that class as well and reschedule that class. So, with that said, with the limited amount of space I have up here, and also I'm in my sort of snow gear type material, we'll see what I can do. With that said, please feel free to comment, ask me questions here. I've never actually done a live stream like this on my channel using my phone, so this might be an experiment for myself as well, using my phone live streaming on YouTube. But it looks like I saw Deborah from Oregon is watching right now. Welcome, Deborah. Glad that you're here. Um, yeah. So, does anybody have any hula hoop questions here? I'm trying to see how do I? Oh, there we go. I want to see the comments here. Okay. Yes, if I if I put my hand towards the camera here, that means I'm just touching my phone screen so that I can see your comments. Yeah, so I figure since I'm out here, there's not really much I can do, but hopefully you can still hear my voice. I figure that at the very least, oh, it looks like somebody. Okay, okay. Carla, yes, hooping in the snow is a challenge these days. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. We actually got the most snow here in Seattle, I think, since 1916 for the month of February. I think it snowed like close to 20 inches or something, which is it's ridiculous. But let's do some hooping in the snow, have some fun here, do some hula hoop stuff. I know someone's asked me before, what's something that you can do during the winter months to keep up with your hooping? That's kind of a hard thing, because obviously, hooping in the snow, you're going to be restricted in what you can do. What I actually tend to do is for the winter time, I tend to actually get a gym membership that has like a fitness room, and then I go in that fitness room and I practice during the winter. I don't try to tough it out as much practicing in the snow, though. Yeah, that's my strategy. But with that said, like I said, I welcome people to share your hooping questions. I feel like this 10:40 a.m. time, we might have some different viewers, so I welcome those different viewers. I haven't done a class at this time. I feel like this might be a better time for the people in Europe. Hopefully, we get someone from Europe who's watching right now. Who knows? But to start it off, I figure, if nobody's going to ask a question at this time, maybe we can practice isolations, because I feel like I can do isolations right now out in the snow. So, how is everybody's isolations here? What is that looking like for? for y'all out there. Um, so I know I talked about isolations before, but let's go ahead and revisit that. Uh, okay, Carla, you can practice anything. Okay, then let's look at some isolations right now. Yeah, so the basic isolation. Let me see. I'm working on hooping between hips and knees, which is a lot of fun, but a lot of work, Deborah says. So let's see here. Let's do the isolations first, and then we'll get to that place in between the hips and knees, because that's a tricky spot to learn how to hula hoop too. So how is your isolation looking? So let's go ahead and practice a basic isolation. And like I said, I believe in the first class, if you hold your hoop at the very bottom of the hoop and you pretend that your hoop is going around like a bolt in the center, that is basically how you do your basic isolation. And you're just going to move your hand around that bolt. And as you get to the side, that's when the trick becomes the most vulnerable. And you move your hand to the top and roll it over the back of your hand to continue going around that bolt. Okay? And like I said, that's the most vulnerable part of that trick. And I recommend practicing this on both hands. And for the people that have mastered that basic isolation, I also recommend trying using two hands. Yes, two hands is super fun. So let's do our basic isolation. I know I'm speeding through this because I already taught this in the first class. But if you have questions about this isolation, please feel free to ask and I can slow down. So let's try that basic isolation with two hands. So I'm now going to put my other hand here and try a two-handed isolation. And the trick to the two-handed isolation, right now I'm currently using my left hand to hold the hoop, is with your other hand, you're not really fully grasping onto the hoop. You kind of make it look like an illusion that you are. And so I'm going to take my right hand and make it look like I'm fully gripping this hoop. But as I come around, I'm actually going to release my hand, roll the hoop over the back of my hand, and then bring my right hand back to make it look like I'm grabbing that hoop to do this two-handed isolation. So it may look like I'm actually holding the hoop the entire time with two hands, but I'm really not. And that's how you do the two-handed isolation. Basically, like I said, take your non-hooping hand, and you're going to not necessarily grab the hoop fully, bring the hoop up, and as you roll it over the back of your hand, release the hand that you're not gripping the hoop with, and then bring it over to the side where you catch the hoop, rolling it over your hand. And that is how you do a basic two-handed isolation. So hopefully that was helpful here. So let's go ahead and look at, I want to look at some of these more comments that people put here. Woo. Okay. Yes. Hello from New York State. Hello. Good to see you here. I want to see more comments. Oh, forgive my thumb. I realize I should probably put my thumb over on this side of the camera. All right. Okay, so let's look at that knee to hip hooping. Oh, hey, Hooping Rabbit is back. Hello, I'm in the snow right now, as you can see. This is ridiculous. Right on. If you guys have snow, I recommend going outside right now and hooping in the snow with me. It's actually it's not as bad as maybe I thought it would be. But anyways, let's look at that. So Deborah asked about how do you hoop between the hips and the knees. That's actually a really tricky one. First of all, you got to know how to hoop on your knees. So let's start with the hoop. Let's see here. Let's start with the hoop on your knees. Okay. And I would also recommend that you know how to get that hoop to come up from your knees to your waist. Because if you can't do that, hooping between your knees and your waist or your hips is going to be really, really challenging. So let's first look at bringing the hoop up from your knees to your waist. So for the people that do not know how to knee hoop, I recommend for this part to practice your knee hooping And to do or to improve your knee hooping, I recommend using different size hoops. So if you're struggling with one of the hoops you have, if you happen to have other size hoops, try different hoop sizes. Also, make sure to keep your legs very close together when you do your knee hooping when you first start out, and that will help you improve as well. So let's go and look at that knee to waist transfer here. So I'm going to start with that hoop around my knees. The hoop is just above my kneecaps as I'm spinning this hoop. And the trick here is I'm going to kind of kick the hoop up with the leg that I'm currently pushing the hoop around my body. So let's try that. So I'm going to just basically kick that hoop up, and then it comes right up to my waist. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to see this as well on my phone camera here, but what I'm doing is I'm spinning the hoop around my knees. I'm currently using my left leg to sort of push that hoop to keep the hoop going around my knees. You can also use your right leg to do this as well, but I'm going to show you with my left leg. And to get that hoop to come up your legs to your waist, that's when I kind of do an extra jolt kick. I'm kind of going with my left leg into the hoop. Each time that hoop comes around and hits my left leg, I'm just going to kind of do a little knee kick to get that hoop to kind of come up my body. So if you kick it hard enough, that hoop should eventually be able to come up. Like I said, this is a very this can be a challenging trick for beginners, and this might be something that might be easier if you have a larger hoop. So let's actually try that in full speed here. So here we are. I got the hoop going around my legs. And now I'm going to use my left leg. I don't know if you'll be able to see this very well, but I'm going to kick it up. See how I did an extra kick there and that hoop started to come up? So I recommend practicing that first. So once you're able to move that hoop in between, your knees and your waist, that's when you can start doing more of the practicing of maintaining that hoop in between your hips and your knee area. Because the key is to do that, that's when you're going to actually do that sort of knee push to keep that hoop up in between your knees and your waist. So if I go back to knees and I bring that hoop up, so right now, if that hoop kind of starts to fall, that's when I can do that push with my leg to get the hoop to come back up. And if it starts to fall again, I can push again. So really, you're doing a combination of just basically when the hoop starts to fall a little bit, you're going to push that leg that you're using to kind of knee kick the hoop up to come back up. But you don't want to push too hard if you want it to go to your waist. So you're just basically finding that sweet spot, the balance of kicking that hoop up with your knee, but not too hard so it goes too high, and just getting used to practicing that to maintain that hoop in between your waist and your knees. But like I was saying, this can be a really challenging trick for the beginners out there. So no worries if you can't get this. Really just practice your knee hooping, get better at that, and really practice that knee hooping transfer. I also have a tutorial on how to transfer the hoop from your knees to your waist. The slow motion in that tutorial is actually really funny. I recommend just going to watch that for the slow motion of me doing that. I'm doing it in tights, and I got my long hair, and it does look pretty hilarious. I don't know. Hopefully that was helpful. I feel like that was kind of a more challenging trick there. I'm gonna look at some more chats here, so forgive me if my thumb gets in the way. Hello, Anne. Good to see you. Noodle, you as well. Hey, Hoop friends. Yes. Okay. Good, Deborah. Glad that you said thank you there. Okay. Good. I'm glad you learned something new, Anne. Let's see what else. Okay. So Deborah also wrote about working on turning and dancing. That's actually a good thing to mention. So when you're doing your knee hooping and you're trying to get that hoop to come up, it can actually be helpful to spin the same direction you spin your hoop. So I recommend practicing that as well. So as you bring that hoop up, to practice spinning. And what I would recommend when you do your spinning, when you're bringing that hoop up to your waist, keep one foot stationary, and you're going to basically rotate around that foot. So if you imagine those like old compasses with the pencil, and you use that to draw a perfect circle. So basically, try that technique where imagine your foot is like the little needle in the center. So I'm going to have my right foot as that needle, and then my left foot is going to be the pencil that goes around drawing my circle. Okay? And that's kind of one way that you can practice this sort of rotating as the hoop is spinning around your body. So I'm going to keep my right foot sort of stationary. It's my needle. And then I'm going to spin around just on that right foot while using my left leg to sort of kick the hoop up to keep that hoop up. So I'm not sure if that was helpful. I don't think I've ever used the compass analogy to teach something like that, but yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Okay, so let's, I'm going to go back down, check out what others have to say here. Woo! Oh, thank you, Carla, for the donation. Yes, Carla, that is awesome. Once again, everybody, I shared this before in previous videos. You're welcome to donate here. You can do it through the super chat feature. You don't have to make a donation, not required, but I definitely welcome it. It helps me to keep doing this class, making time for it, and whatnot. So I greatly appreciate it. But I also want to reach people in areas where people can't afford to donate and do that as well. So it's all good. It's all good. Yes, we got 13 people watching right now. All right. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad to see that we got some more people joining us right now. Yes, thank you. The dedication, doing a class in the snow. Yes, I didn't want to cancel this class for you. I know you were going to be watching from the UK, so I'm glad that we got the UK supporting us right now. So yes, does anybody else have any hooping questions that they want to work on? Unfortunately, I'm probably not going to do any foot hooping today. As you can see, I do not want to lay in this snow. That would be awful. I would probably get so cold, and that would not be fun. Though I bet some people out there may want to actually see that. Okay. Yes, Noodle, that's awesome. I love the feeling of learning a new trick. I remembered when I learned how to get the hoop up from my knees, took about 3 days of practice. Wow, that's really fast. I feel like that can take a lot longer than 3 days. Let's see, Cat. Do you mind if I just call you Cat instead of the long name there, Cat? Do you have tips on angle hooping? Angle hooping. Let's look at angle hooping. I know I've visited the booty bump before, but let's go back to that. So there's many different places that you can do angled hooping on your body. One of the first places is the waist. Let's look at the waist. So if I'm spinning that hoop around around the waist, I'm going to go into this sort of angled sort of hooping position right here, sort of vertical hooping around the waist, also known as the booty bump, which I'm not sure who actually coined that name. Definitely not me. Where was I going with this? Okay, yes, let's go back to that. Waist hooping. Okay, so the trick here to the vertical waist hooping is you have to start kind of leaning start pointing your chest at the angle you want your hoop to spin, and you're going to sort of bump your booty in the air. You're going to push your bottom in the air to keep that hoop going. So really sort of thrust your bum upward, and that's how you get into this vertical hooping position. And when you do this, you might have to actually do a little hop. Unfortunately, you can't see my feet in this shot. Maybe you can see my feet here. So you have to actually kind of hop up with your legs to sort of get that vertical hoop going right there. So that is some booty bumping action right there, vertical hooping. And from here, that's when you can actually practice sort of those different angles. So if I wanted to, let's say, only do a 45-degree angle, I recommend sort of just pointing your chest towards the ground at that 45-degree angle and not going fully down. But if you want to go into vertical waist hooping, then that's when I would say point your chest to the ground and really push that bottom up in the air to get that hoop vertical. Now, with that said, you can do angled hooping on many different parts of your body, so including the chest. I'm not sure if that's the one you specifically wanted to look at. Was there a certain type of angle hooping, Kat, that you want to look at? I know we've looked at some chest hooping, angled chest hooping, I think in some past videos, which that can also be a challenging one for some of the beginners out there. But let's actually see here. Woo! Okay, thank you, Anne. I'm so glad that you did get the notification to watch. That's awesome. Okay, perfect. So hopefully that was some helpful tips on the booty bump there. Okay, Anne writes, when I do that booty move, I bend over more with back, more flat, and it looks kind of cool. I combine arm moves. That's awesome. I think that sounds pretty cool. I could imagine that when you do the booty bump, you could do some arm moves to make it look like you're just rocking out dancing. Let me try that here. I don't normally do the booty bump, unfortunately, for extended periods of time, but yeah, I can see that. Yeah, this is a great. You could do some arm action there, do some arm movements. So try that. That's actually pretty fun. Turn on some music, do some booty bumping with the hoop, and practice your arm movements. Okay, yes, leaning to the front. Is it easier to do the shoulders or the waist? I can't do either. Well, let's see. If you're going to do angled hooping from the shoulders, I would actually say that's going to be harder to do. So I would actually try to do with the waist first. And I would also ask you too, do you have any different size hoops? Because this is one of those tricks, the booty bump, where if you have like maybe a large hoop, that actually might make this easier. So I would recommend using a larger hoop. And then as you get better with your larger hoop, you can use a smaller hoop to try this trick. Larger, I would say on body learning is always easier. Let's see. Is back roll considered to beginner? I can sort of do them, but they just fall off by the time they pass my neck. I would say the back roll is it's a beginner and intermediate. It's not an advanced trick, I would say, not the most advanced in the world. But I will get to that in a moment. Hopefully, Kat, that answered your question about the angled waist hooping. Kind of feel like yeah, that's a hard one to teach in a live stream. Yes, I have a large hoop, although it hits the floor, but yes, I'll start with the larger hoop. Yes, start with the larger hoop. So try that with the larger hoop and let me know how that goes. And then as you're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and visit this over the back roll. Yeah, so let's see if I can even do it with my bigger coat on here. So we got our over the back roll like so. Whoop. I actually just hit the snow. Hold on, I need to like make room here. I can't even do it because my hoop is hitting the snow here. Okay, so let's try this again. Let's try this over the back roll. Hopefully it doesn't hit the snow. That was a really horrible over the back roll. Okay, well, now my hoop is in the snow, and I'm gonna go ahead and use this other hoop instead of walking in the snow. Okay, let's try that again. Okay. Okay, so I can do that with my coat and the snow. Excellent. So yeah, so the tips to doing the rolling it over your back on your neck. Oh, thank you, Hooping Rabbit. It's all good. Um, so the tips I would say to rolling it over your back from your neck is I'm gonna teach this starting with the hoop in my right hand, and I'm gonna be spinning the hoop so that the hoop is kind of going in an upward motion. I guess that would be, what is that? Counterclockwise in a vertical position. So you want to have that hoop spin the way that you're going to basically roll it over your back. And right now in my right hand, that's in more of a counterclockwise motion. And if you want to roll it over your back, there's a point where you kind of grab the hoop, extend your hand all the way out to your side, and as the hoop is sort of in this position here, you're not gonna or you're gonna actually gonna release your grip of that hoop when it's out to your side, and you're just gonna let that hoop sort of glide over your arms, over your hand. You're gonna do kind of a flip of the wrist action here, flip of the wrist, and let that hoop glide over your hand, and then it should just glide over your back to the other side. And as you do that, you want to fully bring your back down to the ground, and you want to have an even surface with your arms stretched out, okay? Because you don't want your arms to be in all these weird motions. So you want to have create sort of like a horizontal line with your arms, and it's kind of just a motion. Whoop! I'm not as used to doing it without the full momentum there. Yeah, so it's kind of just a flick of the wrist that gets that motion to go over your back and neck. Not sure if that was necessarily helpful there. Whew. Okay. So yes, was that helpful for that trick? Let me go back. I forgot exactly. Yes, Hooping Rabbit. Hopefully that was helpful there. Also, another thing about that back pass, you want to make sure that your head is not in the way so that that hoop hits your head. So make sure that you fully, move your head down if you need to. Yeah, so move your head down to the ground so that hoop is not hitting the back of your head. Also, let's see, another trick to this. Kind of learning as I go here how to teach this one on a live stream. Okay. Yeah, so I would say the most vulnerable part of that back pass is when you are flipping it from your hand. You like I said, you're really kind of just releasing it, and just you're kind of stopping the momentum of your hand, and you allow the hoop to finish the rest, and it should just kind of flip over your hand and then roll over your back. Because what's easy to do with that back roll is it's easy to do this. Let's see if I can sort of mimic this. Is instead of it rolling on your back, you're actually throwing it to the other hand, and you don't want to do that. See, I kind of more or less did a throw. And the throw comes from you're kind of forcibly sort of throwing the hoop over your back instead of stopping that motion. So as you bring the hoop up with your hand, you stop your hand right here and just allow that hoop to roll on your arm and then roll over your back. Yeah, so that's something that can happen if you forcibly try to bring your hand up to release the hoop. You may actually be throwing it instead of having the hoop roll over your back. So that's something that can happen with that. So hopefully that was helpful with the back here. Yeah, it did. I only moved my head out in the way. Okay. I'm going to try leaning forward real quick. So yes, try leaning forward. Also make sure that you're fully leaning towards the ground, because if you're only doing this and you're partial of you like this on this side of you, and that hoop comes over your back, it's going to be much harder to catch that hoop. Whereas when that hoop comes over your back, make sure your hand is a little bit behind you, and as it comes, and as you can feel it kind of rolling off your back, that's when you come over and use your hand to catch the hoop. So I recommend trying that. Bringing your hand in, catch the hoop, to continue rolling that hoop on your hand. So hopefully that was helpful. But okay, everybody. Woo. Hopefully this stream is looking good. I'm actually thinking that it might be time to shut down this class here, and yeah. So hopefully I was able to teach you something here in the snow. I feel like yeah, this was kind of a more challenging day for me. I had stress about this class just because I was like, oh no, the library's closed. I can't use the library to teach this class. How am I going to do this? Well, here we are. I'm on the roof of my apartment here in the snow using my phone camera to stream a live class on YouTube. So I'm glad I was still able to do this. So so let's go ahead and end the class. Oh, thank you, Carla, for that compliment. Good to see you, Gray, that you're in this class too. Yeah, so let's go ahead and end the class, and we'll go reschedule another class next time, because I'm going to cancel the February 16th class and reschedule that class. So if you visit my website at hoopsmiles.com /live hoop class, that's where you will see my class schedule, and you can also comment there and leave me questions with things that you would like to talk about in the next class. And after this video, I'm going to edit the description of this video so that I will put the link to that class schedule in the description of this video. So thank you so much, everybody out there watching this class. This really didn't turn out to be so bad. I was actually able to do something. Hopefully the video is not horrible too. Until next time, I wish you all the best and the best hooping experiences possible. You all are amazing. Till next time, you guys are awesome. Take care and happy hooping. Yes. Bye-bye. I'm trying to figure out how to end a live stream on my phone. I'm